the client can decide whether the unavoidable traumatic memories triggered by a certain therapist can be overcome. This is a relatively short audiobook, a blessing for the trauma victim, who often has difficulty with complex reading and concentration. But it is remarkably inclusive of a wide range of important considerations in the experience and healing of trauma. Cori emphasizes a generally holistic approach to the understanding of trauma and to available means of healing, including many of the newer and admittedly controversial somatically based trauma therapies. She emphasizes the use of supplements and herbal remedies for those who are intolerant of psychotropic medications. Information is provided not so much to tout specific treatment regimens as to address what's available outside of standard cognitive behavioral approaches. What is perhaps most important is Cori's message of hope through her courageous use of her own personal trauma experience and her journey from helplessness to mastery. This is an audiobook that victims of complex life trauma can use as a mirror for their own life experience, to understand the meaning of their chaotic inner life without being traumatized by its contents, and to assimilate the message of hope, healing, and transformation. Robert C. Scare, M.D. Robert C. Scare, M.D. is the author of The Trauma Spectrum, Hidden Wounds and Human Resiliency, and The Body Bears the Burden, Trauma, Dissociation, and Disease.
Introduction. A trauma audiobook for those in the trenches. I spent my childhood in a traumatized state, although I didn't begin to remember any of the traumatizing events or my true feelings until I was nearly 40, and I was not able to heal these wounds until my mid-50s. In my process of trying to find things that would help, I read a number of books about trauma. Some of these contained useful nuggets of information, but most left me unsatisfied. They may have spoken about my symptoms, but they didn't speak to me. Being a writer and feeling that trauma survivors need information tailored to their needs, I decided to write a book that sifts through the mounds of information and presents a condensed version fashioned on more of a need-to-know basis. Although I am a licensed psychotherapist, I am writing as much from the other side of the desk, a place from which I can speak more personally. I know what it is like to be vulnerable. I know what it is like to need help. I know something about this journey, not from the safer distance of the therapist role, but from being right there in it. Healing from trauma is primarily for people who have been through significant life trauma and want help in understanding trauma and learning what they can do to further their own healing. Certainly, partners and therapists of various kinds will benefit from this audiobook, and I ask for their understanding when I use the word "you" throughout to speak to listeners who are trauma survivors. This holistic guide can help you manage the disruptive impacts of trauma as they arise, as well as create a larger plan for a more complete healing. This audiobook will increase your understanding of trauma and why it has the effects that it does, equip you with practical self-care tools, identify the tasks of healing, and thereby create a context for understanding why numerous therapies, personal resources, and self-help tools are needed. Be a companion to therapy or perhaps a guide into therapy, helping you assess various options and find the best help available. Provide hope for healing and some guideposts for what that looks like. Discuss various spiritual issues related to trauma, including how spirituality helps us, how it can be misused, and what spiritual challenges and opportunities come with trauma. Provide a wide range of perspectives and tools so that you get the best approaches generally offered one at a time. You'll get a streamlined version of somatic, body-based, and cognitive approaches, as well as an understanding of how unmet developmental needs interfered with by early trauma must and can be addressed.